Welcome back. Today, we're stepping into a world that feels dry, dusty, and desperate. A widespread famine is gripping the land, and we're going to watch a family get pushed right to its limits, where every single choice could mean the difference between life and death. We're opening the scrolls to Genesis, chapter 43.
I mean, can you imagine? That is exactly the spot Jacob and his sons find themselves in. They've made one dangerous trip to Egypt already. They came back with food, sure, but they also came back with a terrifying command from its powerful, mysterious ruler. Don't even think about coming back unless you bring your youngest brother Benjamin with you.
Okay, let's dive right in. Just picture it. The fields are cracked and dry, and there's this constant non-hunger in the air. The grain they brought back from Egypt, it's all gone. So you see, this isn't just a story about finding more food. It's really about finding the courage to fix what's been broken in their family for decades, even if it means risking absolutely everything. So our story opens with this really harsh reality hitting them right in the face. The little bit of relief they had is over, and the crisis is back, and honestly, it's even worse than before. You can almost feel the heavy silence in Jacob's tents. The grain sacks are flat and empty. The only sound is the worry of parents wondering how they're going to feed their kids. Jacob, their elderly father, finally breaks that silence with a simple, desperate command. Go back, buy us some food. But he knows, and every one of his sons knows, it's nowhere near that simple.
But this time, Judah speaks up. And you have to understand, this is not the same Judah who once sold his own brother Joseph into slavery. He's changed. He looks at his dad and reminds him of those chilling words from the Egyptian leader, "If you show up without your youngest brother, you won't even be allowed to see my face." It's a total standoff. Jacob's deep, painful fear on one side and his entire family's starvation on the other.
And right here, in this moment of crisis, one brother steps forward and says something that will change the course of their family's history forever.
Wow, this is the turning point of the whole chapter. Judah makes this unbelievable promise. He doesn't just say, "Don't worry, I'll watch him." No, he says, "I will be his guarantee. You can hold me responsible. If I don't bring him home, let the blame rest on my shoulders for the rest of my life." He's putting his entire future, his entire soul on the line for his little brother. He's finally taking full responsibility.
When Jacob hears Judah's solemn vow, you can see his resolve finally break. His heart is shattering, but he knows there's no other choice. So he puts together a plan, one that's just born of pure desperation. First, the gift. Gather the best things you can find, some honey, some nuts. Second, the money. Take double what you need, and be sure to return the silver you've found in your sacks to prove you're not thieves. And third, the son. Take Benjamin. His final words are just a raw prayer, releasing his children into God's hands.
And so with the gifts, the money, and with their youngest brother Benjamin, the sons of Jacob begin the long, quiet, anxious journey back to the one man they fear more than anyone in the world. When they finally arrive in Egypt and present themselves, Joseph sees them from a distance. And the moment his eyes lock on Benjamin, his own full brother, everything changes. He turns to his chief servant and gives an immediate order. "Take these men to my house, prepare a feast, they will eat with me at noon." Not a prison, not a courtroom, his home.
You'd think they'd be relieved, right? But this invitation doesn't feel like an honor. To them, it feels like a trap. All that guilt they've been carrying for 20 years is just screaming in their ears. They are absolutely convinced this is a trick, a setup, because of that money they mysteriously found in their grain sacks last time. You can just see them huddled together, whispering, "This is it. He's going to ambush us and make us all his slaves."
So as they get to the door of this grand house, they practically tackle the head servant, just babbling and trying to explain the whole money situation. But the servant's reply is just stunning. He tells them, "Calm down. Don't be afraid. Your God must have placed a treasure in your sacks." And then, as this incredible gesture of peace, he brings out their brother Simeon, who'd been held hostage all this time. For the first time on this trip, they must have felt a tiny, tiny glimmer of hope.
The moment of truth has finally arrived. The brothers are inside the house of the second most powerful man in the world, just waiting for him to appear.
When Joseph finally walks into the room, the scene is just electric with tension. He's dressed like an Egyptian prince, surrounded by servants and power and wealth, and they are just shepherds from Canaan, smelling of the road, dusty from their long journey. They don't even make eye contact.
They immediately fall to the ground and bow deeply, presenting the gifts from their heartbroken father. So what's Joseph's first question? It's not about the money. It's not about the grain. It's about his dad. After 20 long years of silence, the first words out of his mouth are, "Is my father? Is the old man you told me about? Is he okay?" You can almost hear the longing in his voice. And the brothers, still bowing low, tell him that his servant, their father, is alive and well.
And then, Joseph's eyes finally rest on Benjamin, his mother Rachel's son. He's not a little boy anymore. He's a young man. And seeing him just unlocks a tidal wave of emotion that's been buried inside Joseph for 2 decades. He is so overwhelmed he can't even speak. He has to physically turn around and run out of the room to find a private place to just let it all out, to weep and release 20 years of grief and love.
After he gets himself together, Joseph comes back to host a meal that is going to leave his brothers more confused than they have ever been in their lives.
So the food is served, but it's set up in a really strange way. There are 3 separate seating areas. Joseph eats all by himself, at a high table. His Egyptian officials have their own tables. And the 11 brothers from Canaan, they're given their own table. This was actually an Egyptian custom. They believed it was improper to share a meal with foreigners, like the Hebrews.
But the real shocker comes when the servants tell them where to sit. Somehow, this powerful Egyptian ruler has arranged their seats in their exact birth order, from Reuben the oldest all the way down the line to Benjamin the youngest. How on earth could he possibly know this? They just look at each other, stunned, their minds reeling. The mystery of who this man is just gets deeper and deeper.
And then comes one final, subtle test. When the food is served from Joseph's own table, every brother gets a generous helping. But Benjamin's plate is piled 5 times higher than anyone else's. And you know Joseph is watching. He's looking for their reaction. Will they get jealous? Will that old, ugly hatred that got him thrown into a pit all those years ago pop up again? But this time, it doesn't. They're not jealous. They just feast together, amazed and relieved, enjoying this strange and wonderful meal. So, after all that incredible family drama, what's the big lesson here for our lives? Well, it's a really powerful lesson about what it means to truly grow up and take ownership.
Think about it. The entire direction of this story, the fate of this whole family, pivots on one sentence from Judah. The moment he stops making excuses and says, "I will be responsible," he gives his father the courage to have hope, and he gives his brothers a path forward. He shows us all that taking responsibility is one of the most powerful forces for healing in the world.
So here is this week's Midat Challenge, a way for you to put this powerful idea into practice. We're going to call it the Judah Promise. This week, find just one situation where you can step up and take full responsibility. It could be a chore at home that nobody wants to do, a tough part of a project at school, or maybe just admitting you made a mistake. Instead of waiting to be told, be the one who says, "I've got this," or "Don't worry, I'll handle it." See how taking ownership, just like Judah, makes you the kind of person your family and friends know they can always count on.
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.